Now you probably wonder why I do that. And I just slide it in at that length. It'll just stick a lot better. This is going to achieve the best impact or the most square impact. Welcome to the Power Golf repair room today, and today I've actually got a little bit of a different one. Most of the things we deal in are usually reshafts of woods and irons and things. Today I've got a gentleman who's brought in a Scotty Cameron putter. Now you look at that putter and you probably say, well, do you want to change anything on it? What he's actually done, he's ordered his own shaft. Got this off the internet somewhere, and he wants to put this shaft into a putter. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not quite sure what that's going to achieve, but the only thing I can really think of though is a little, because it's a 120 gram shaft, it's a little heavier than normal, and the KBS shaft that it is probably going to offer a little bit more stability and less torque. Now, when I say less torque, let me just explain that. At the moment of impact, you want the putter to be as square as possible, and he's feeling the shaft like this is going to achieve the best impact or the most square impact. So he's going to put this one in. So he's bought this in himself. My job is to take the old head off, insert the new shaft. Right, so firstly what I'm going to do, we need to take the old head off. Here we go. Shouldn't take too long, probably 30 seconds of this. Pretty easily, that one. So there's the head there. Now this is the next thing. Is this shaft going to fit this putter? I've had this before and sometimes it doesn't work and I've got to call the customer straight away. In this case, we've got a perfect fit. Now you'll see at the moment how smooth this shaft is. We need to just rough that surface up a little bit. Now the key here is, obviously when we rough it up, is not to go too high and then you've got marks on the shaft. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually mark it to be safe. Let's mark how far this goes into the shaft. So what we'll do is put my thumb there, and I want to go just below where my thumb mark is to have no chance of any marks on a shaft, because at the end of the day, this shaft's probably, I'd suggest this is a couple $100, this shaft. So what I'm going to do now is walk over to my little grinder over here. And all I'm going to do is just give it a little nick. As such, just to make as so. Now you probably wonder why I do that. What that'll allow the glue to do is adhere to the shaft and the head better, so it'll just stick a lot better. So back over here we go. So I get my little thing there, get it into there and make sure there's no debris or anything. And as you can see, that's a very clean head inside there. So I'll just get my little bit of cardboard here. So we put in that's part B, and we also need a part A. Mix them about 50-50, as such. And I just make sure I nicely mix the two parts together. So what I'll do now, very important, you put glue on both surfaces. So I put a bit on the shaft there. And it's important that I also put some into the actual head of the golf club. I tend to like using a lot of glue because you can always wipe off the excess, but you haven't got enough glue, it's not going to stick properly. So there we go, I'm happy with that. So as such, I'll now just insert the shaft into the head. As such, it's a pretty good fit. So there we go. I'm going to set that decal to the back of the putter. I'm just going to put it on the bench here and let it dry. Now, there we go there, I'm happy with that set. I'm happy with the way it's gone in. So what I'm going to do is now let it sit for about half an hour. Okay, we're back again. We've just let this putter dry for a little bit. You can see it's still nicely, nice and clean. So now comes the cutting part. Now we want to cut this putter to 36 inches. Put the putter flat on the ground and like that. And what I want to do now is measure 35 3/4, as we just said. Let's get it in there. Always put the ruler in the middle of the putter, like that. So let's go to here. We want to cut it to about 35 3/4. Turn her on. And I just slide it in at that length. And there she's cut. There you go, there's the 35 3/4 inches that we wanted. Okay, so when putting a grip on, always put a little bit of tape at the top of the grip, okay, when I say that. Just put a little wrap around the top. It just makes the grip so much easier to slide on when we get to that part. Little tape around the top, as you can see there, push it in, so there's a hole through there. Now I'm just going to use a bit of double-sided tape. So wrap that around as so. And I'll just check the length of the putter because we don't want the tape to run further than the putter. So you'll see about there is where we want to be. We look at the top of that to that, that's about the right length there. Okay, so now we'll put the grip on. As so, double-sided tape, just peel that and take the outer side off. Get my grip solution here. This is like a white spirit, or what do you want to call it? Just lubricates the grip. As so, put plenty in a putter grip too, more than you normally would. Pour that excess over the grip, and then we can just slide it on. As such, give it a good push. Like that. Make sure the grip's straight. Give it a wipe down. You can see a little bit of that tape's come out the end, so I'll just have to trim that off. Like so. That one actually peeled off, so I got lucky there. Have a look at that there. Right. And that is about as close to 36 as you can possibly get. So that's job complete. And again, always big on cleaning up after it. Make sure the product goes back to the customer like it comes out of a showroom. So that's how you reshaft the putter.